Hello and welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky This Week for the first week in October, the 3rd through 9th, 2021. We have a good pass for the International Space Station early in the week, a new moon toward the middle, an old moon to look for in the early morning sky at the beginning of the week, and a new waxing crescent in the evening sky toward the end of the week. Begin on October 3rd at 6 in the morning. This is the early morning when you can find the last thin waning crescent moon. Face the eastern part of the sky, the direction where the sun appears to rise. A little bit toward the left of that direction, toward the north, there's a pattern called the Big Dipper. 7 fairly bright stars that make a cup and a handle shape. If you use your left hand measuring stick to measure this, hold your left arm straight out in front of you. Spread out your fingers as wide as they'll go. Put the tip of your left thumb on the lip of the Big Dipper. Tip of your pinky will stretch all the way back to the end of the dipper. It's about a hand span across on the sky. These 2 stars, sometimes called the pointers, direct you to the North Star, Polaris. Or if you draw the line in the opposite direction, on the 3rd, they'll show you the last waning crescent moon as it moves along its orbit. On the 5th, just after the sun goes down, see if you can find the International Space Station. At 8:39 p.m., the station appears to rise out of the northwest part of the sky, and over the next 3.5 minutes, it will zip over toward the eastern part of the sky and disappear near the constellation Andromeda. This is a really good pass because it gets high in the sky, near the top of the sky, and it's really, really bright. See if you can find that if the sky is clear and you have a good north and eastern horizon. On the 6th, the moon is at new phase, so it's up in the daytime sky with the sun. Technically, at 7:05 a.m. is the exact point of the new moon, but for us, the sun doesn't even rise until 7:30. The moon is in the same part of the sky as the sun, so we don't get to see it in the nighttime sky, not for another couple of nights until the moon moves along its orbit and we can see a waxing crescent. On the 8th, around 9:30 p.m., see if you can find those 2 really bright planets, Jupiter and Saturn, toward the south part of the sky. They're not quite this big looking on the sky. These are exaggerations, but it does show the brightness. Jupiter much brighter than Saturn is, and they're about not quite a hand span apart between the 2 of them. Now look up toward the left, a little higher on the sky. There's a big square of stars, the body of Pegasus, the flying horse. Those 4 stars make a huge square shape on the sky. And if you're using your left hand measuring stick again, left arm out, lock your elbow. This time make a fist with your left hand, and you can fit your fist inside that square of stars. Handy measuring tool. Zoom in a little closer. Jupiter and Saturn over there toward the south. Here's our big square of stars. The body of Pegasus, the flying horse. Those 4 are known as the Great Square of Pegasus. It's pretty great. It's pretty big. If instead you look at where the dots and lines are, figuring out constellation outlines, Pegasus, the flying horse, it's only half a horse, and it's upside down. The 4 stars make the body, long neck, nose. These stars are fairly faint. See how small the dots are? So it's a little tricky to find the front legs, the long neck, and the nose of Pegasus. See if you can find where that is on this image. Great square up there to the left of Jupiter and Saturn. Here's the great square. Here's the long neck. There's a nose. And one of the legs sticking off this way. So toward the end of the week, look for Pegasus up near Jupiter and Saturn. By the 9th, the moon has moved along its orbit a good bit, several days, and it's at the waxing crescent phase. And if you look toward the southwest part of the sky, Jupiter and Saturn, still pretty easy to see. This giant exaggerated lump is the planet Venus, and that waxing crescent moon right nearby. Zoom in a little bit, straighten things out. The front part of Scorpius, the scorpion. There's the front. We've been looking at Scorpius over the last few weeks. Heading over toward the tail, bright star Antares. Venus, the planet, is right near the front of the scorpion, and that thin waxing crescent moon is right near Venus. On the real sky, Venus will not be huge like the moon. It's just a real bright star-looking object, but it's fun to look for toward the southwest part of the sky toward the end of this week. And as always, thanks very much for listening. We really appreciate you checking out Fernbank Science Center's website, www.fernbank.edu, for tuning in to our Friday evening at-home planetarium programs, and for watching the night sky. Keep looking up.